Okay, let's talk about these scatter plots and how we create them using Excel and how we would draw them with the help from a calculator as well. Scatter plots I find easiest to do digitally in Excel because the program itself does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So here we have our ice cream sales. We talked about these last time. You will see that we have our temperature in degrees Celsius. Now please note I don't have the degree symbol after any of these numbers. You'll see up here that it's just pure numbers. Okay, if you have that degrees symbol in with the number, the Excel no longer thinks it's a number. It thinks that it's a word and it treats it as such, and it won't work properly. You might think that, okay, I better get rid of these dollar signs, but if you look up here, it is just pure number. That cell has been formatted to show that dollar sign. Okay, I couldn't be bothered turning it off, quite honestly. So here we have our temperature, here we have our ice cream sales. The way that we create our scatter plot is we select both groups of data, as well as their headings, that doesn't hurt. We go to Insert, we then go to where the scatter is, this one here, the scatter plots, and it's just this first one that we want. Okay, so we have our graph, our scatter plot drawn, but that's not the end of where we need to work with this. You'll see that there's a big gap here. We don't really want that or need that for this particular information. There's no labels on these and the title's wrong. So let's fix up some of these things. So the first thing we'll fix up is this. This is actually the ice cream sales versus the temperature. That looks a whole lot better. And we're going to add a chart element, an axis title to the horizontal. This is going to be our temperature in Celsius. And we're going to add a chart element, and we're going to add a title to the vertical. And this will be our sales. And that'll be just in dollars. Okay, so we have all of the right headings and we have the right axes. Now we need to fix up how much of this data is showing. So click on these numbers down the bottom of the scale that you want to fix, right click and go Format the Axis. And you will see here we have our bounds. Our minimum set to 0, but that's not a great number. We're going to set it to 10 for this particular set of data, just so that it starts a little bit later than 0 and it shows us our data in a better way. Okay, very good. I might also add in my other numbers just because I can. I'll change my units to 1 unit per graph line, and you'll see that it adds in that extra information that was missing before. You could leave it out, it's up to you what you prefer. What we're also going to add is something called a line of best fit, the trend line here. So the trend line that we're going to add is just a linear trend line. Now this trend line is a line of regression. It basically shows that all of those points of data that we have, if you were to sort of find a line that fits the best, that's that line. Each of those points of data are about equal away from that line on both above it and below it. It kind of evens itself out. You can do that kind of by line of sight when you're working on your own, but to be accurate, you actually need to use your calculator. So let me grab my calculator here. And we need to put some information in. This might take a little bit. I'll be as quick as I can. First of all, we need to set it up to do what we want it to do, the statistical information. So we go back into the mode and we want the statistics, number 2. Now in the past, when we have used our calculator for doing work with data, we always pick the first choice, which is just one variable. But this time we need to actually pick this one, A plus B. We need to choose the second option, and it will give us our X and our Y. If you will recall, when we were working with linear equations back in the day, last year, or we haven't done them this year much, I don't think, you will recall that there was actually a form for the general form of a linear equation. The general form was y is equal to mx plus c. Now, according to our calculator, the calculator didn't call them M and it didn't call it C. If you recall, in the calculator, for option 2, it said A plus BX. So the BX relates to our MX of our general linear equation, and our A will relate to our C. So they kind of have it a little bit back to front. I don't know why they chose to do that. So when we're looking for the A value, we are looking for this bit here, the y-intercept, basically. And then when we're finding the B actually will be our gradient. Okay, so if you'd forgotten that, the M relates to the gradient of the line, and the C is the y-intercept. That's just quick revision of the stuff that we've done before. Okay, so let's get back our information. Okay, so here we've got to put in all these points, all these bits of data for this information. So can I do this kind of quickly? Let's try. 14.2 equals, next one, 16.4 equals 11.9 equals 15.2 equals 18.5 equals 22.1 equals 19.4 equals 25.1 equals 23.4. Why didn't I pick something? Oh, hang on, that should be 23.4. 3.4. Why didn't I pick something with less numbers? 23.4 plus that equals, and then we'll say 18.1 equals 22.6 equals and 17.2. All right, we have all of our lines of data in. Now we need to do our Y data. This is our second lot of data. It's quicker to go down here. All right, so we have 215. That's not right. I wonder if I made any other errors. I may have. Now I have to check the Y's as I go. 14.2, 215. So 325. Next one is 185. I have two monitors, which is why I'm not looking forward at the moment. 185, 332, 406, 522, 412, 614. Now, as you could imagine, if you had a huge amount of information, this would be incredibly tedious. This is already kind of tedious. 421, 445, and finally 408. All right, I have all of my data in. I sure hope that I didn't make any errors in how I put that information in. I can then go AC just to get rid of that stuff. What we want to try and do is find our values for the M and the C. Remember, y equals mx plus c. So we're going to find our value for our y-intercept and a value for our gradient. Okay, so let's go to the statistical information. So shift 1 for our stats. Now this line of best fit is often also called a line of regression. So that's what we want. We want this one here, REG, regression. So I'm going to hit 7. And I'm looking for A and I'm looking for B. So I will choose one. I'll do the A first. And it is minus, well, hang on, let me write it down in here, because this seems like as good a spot as any to actually write this information down. So my plus C will actually be minus 159.474. Okay, so we're building towards y is equal to something x. All right, so let's go back to our x. Oh, actually, we don't need it. We've got our calculator here. All right, so we'll clear that. Let's find B. Shift 1, and we want regression, and we want B, and it will be 30. Oh, whoops, I hit the wrong button. Let me get that back. It will be 30.1. 30.088. And there we have our linear equation for our line of best fit for our scatter plot, for this scatter plot right here. And I can actually double check that to show that I'm not just making stuff up. If I have a look at my line of best fit, my trend line here in Excel, I can actually, as a choice down the bottom down here, choose to display the equation and look at the equation. Y is equal to 30.088x minus 159.47, which I think you'll find is exactly, where is it? There it is there. So we actually, I can show it on this and on that at the same time, and you can see that we got it right. Y is equal to 30.088x minus 159.47. Wow, it rounded it off. We were more accurate with our calculator than Excel was. Okay, so that's how you can use your calculator to actually help you find mathematically the line of best fit if you're hand drawing the scatter plots, which I don't really suggest you do. I mean, you can do it, that's fine. Something that you do need to be aware of is not all of these scatter plots have a linear equation for their line of best fit. Here, have a look at this particular graph here. This is birth rates in different countries around the world versus the average wage of the people in that country. And you can see that that line of best fit, it is not actually a straight line. It's a non-linear line of best fit. In fact, it's an exponential. There's an exponential rate of decay in terms of the number of children that you have and the more money that you make as a country. So that basically means that this graph is showing, this scatter plot, that the poorer people end up having more children than the people who actually make lots of money, which is kind of interesting. It's an interesting bit of data. Okay, so that's scatter plots and how to find them using our tools that we have, Excel and calculators.